All right, Julie, while people are logging in, could you take one or two, maybe a minute, just tell us some tips and tricks on how they can use Zoom, the application we're on today, if they want
Oh,
to ask
yes,
questions or, yeah.
absolutely. Great idea. So welcome, everybody. I'm Julie, the community manager, and I'll just help our dear CEO Thierry facilitate this meeting with him today, speaking of the boutique portal and how to connect with local boutiques and stores online in person. And we also have Meg and Jane. I'll let Thierry introduce them later. Some of our very beloved artists here at Le Galeriste that will share their own experience. Just to give you an idea, so once we officially launch the conversation, you will have the option, you see a chat button at the bottom of your screen, and there you can click and you can chat with us as we go through this conversation and this sharing. You will see the option of messaging the panelists or Thierry or myself directly, but we highly suggest if this is a question and answer that could benefit the group to just do it. Hi, Estella. Yes, very good. You can test it out right now if you'd like. Just send us a quick hello. Yes, and so Daniela, our marketing coordinator, will also be with us, and she will help answer these questions as the conversation goes through. We might not be able to answer everybody in real time, as we're expecting 300 participants this morning, which is amazing. But Thierry's presentation and our artists' contribution should bring it, to the next level and give you a lot of information. So what we invite you to do is maybe just take the time to take in what's being shared before launching into specific questions. And then if towards the end or after a segment, you find that you'd like to know more about something Thierry shared or Jane or Meg, then please feel free to share your questions here, and we'll do our very, very best to answer you. Everything will be in the chat. As you can, I think everybody's really comfortable using it, right? I see so many highs and good mornings. Not nice. Thank you, Erica.
That's
Carla.
cool.
It's beautiful.
All right. Well, thank
We're
you so much, Julie.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
All right. Well, as Julie mentioned, thank you so much for being here. I told Jane there would be something like 20, 30 people today. It is kind of what I expected. And yes, we should have over 300 people with us today. And this is, I can't even begin to tell how this feels. I mean, we all have hard jobs but we work a lot. And the reason we get up every morning is you guys, and having you come here today is really, really important, and it's a blessing. So thank you for being here today. For those who don't know me, I'm the CEO and founder of Le Galeriste. I'm sorry if I chose that name, which is so hard to pronounce in English. And for those who know me, hello. So let's get on with it. So I think maybe first and foremost, I have some apologies to make. Might sound weird, but I've been in the fashion business for like 13 years now, and it started off with wholesale, with boutiques, and it was all that we were doing. And then I got obsessed with art and helping artists, and we burnt the bridges, basically. I don't know if you guys know about that, but whenever Vikings would invade a country, I guess it's a bad analogy to talk about invasion, but when Vikings would invade a country, when the boat would land, the first thing they do is turn around and burn the boat to make sure that they're committed to what they're doing. And we were committed to helping artists. And when that decision was on and taken, we went all the way, and we burnt the bridges with the boutiques, thinking it would hurt us focus on you guys. And here we are a couple of years later, actually 4 years later now, and I had some interviews, really interesting interviews with many of you guys. And I realized that boutiques are important, and that you're actually, a lot of artists are meeting with a lot of boutiques, and you do not have the tools within our system currently to help you do that. So we are working on that. Actually have a version I was hoping to show you today. We'll talk about it. It should be released next week in a beta version. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about beta is like a 1.0. So it works, but you have a few manual steps to do that you won't have to do in the real 2.0 version. So we'll talk about 1.0, 2.0, and we'll also talk about how to do it today in what we have. So let's have a quick view at the agenda here. So one, I'll go through the fashion wholesale overview. So just tell you a bit about how fashion wholesale works and how it can be done with our current system. And then we have two great panelists with us today. Number one is Jane Jeffries. Thank you for being here. I'm a fan of your work. I find it so soothing. You have a
Awesome.
soothing way of working, and it feels good. And you also have a very creative business mind, and I guess that's the reason I wanted you on board today. I want the community to hear on how you build business. Before we jump into your segment, could you take maybe 30-60 seconds to let us know who you are and what it means to be you?
Well, thank you so much. I'm so flattered. I'm quite overwhelmed, actually. I'm flattered, but this is lovely. So thank you. I am, like I said, I'm Jane, and I'm retired high school math teacher. I live in Burt's Rapids. It's a very small island, about 50 kilometers south of Ottawa. So I'm surrounded by water, and my husband and I have 4 children and about 8 gardens that we maintain. So natural history, science, and math are my interests. And art, I had never thought of, not even looked at it, didn't take a course, nothing, until my mother is an artist, and my both of my grandparents and 2 of my nieces. And so apparently it's in the blood. When my mother passed, I was looking for a way to connect, and I thought, I think I should try and paint, because she always wanted me to, and I never did. She did watercolor, I do acrylic, and I started in 2015, and it's just been very much a whirlwind. You know, in 30 seconds, I can go into, I'll talk all about my art and so on later, but that's really, yeah, I'm a math teacher that's retired now, and I am having an absolute blast. And a friend of mine who I will do a shout out to is Louise Beaulieu, who is also an Le Galleriste.
Yeah, from
one
Quebec.
day she saw some of my note cards and said, "Your flowers, you know Louise? You recall Louise?" So she's in Elmont, and she said, "Jane, your flowers should be on tops." And I said, "Oh." So I put it on a top. We tried it, and wow, it's well, I'll get into that after. It's been I love it.
Thank you so much, Jane. Actually, if I can,
You're welcome.
if I can add a little note here, there is some power in community when artists can talk together, and Julie is working really hard on building a community on Facebook where you guys can exchange, and we'll jump in and monitor, answer any questions you may have. But I see so much value in people connecting. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to throw that in there. And we have Medj with us. Medj is an abstract artist. She can tell us a bit about herself, but the reason I wanted her here today is her message. She has a very strong message in her art, and it's really important in fashion as well to have a kind of a clear line of thought. Not even sure if we can we say that in English, line of thought?
Yes.
Because that's
Yeah.
really like direct from French. Anyway,
Yes.
she has a clear message, and she is a born marketer. So I'd like to hear more about your message and how do you promote it, and I also would like to hear how your fashion show went. So we'll go into that in your segment in maybe 30 minutes. But for now, Medj, maybe just introduce yourself, let us know who you are and a bit about your art.
So hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. So thank you, Thierry. Thank you, Julie, for doing a fabulous job in the community. So when I receive this picture of my painting on clothing, I was excited. it's Daniela who connect with me, and she say, "Oh, we saw your heart, and we would like." I say, "Wow, this is what I wanted." And I was thinking about it, and what the gallerist has, I have to say, it's about respecting the environment. I say, okay, check. Vegan, check. Wrinkle-free, check. I say, this is for me. And so my art is about empowerment, because in my work, I'm a therapist. I help people realize who they are, figure out how to be happy, understand that they have a lot of stuff in their head, but if they work with their heart, life is easier. So my heart is about bringing this passion and this energy in all my canvas. So bringing it inside the clothing was like, wow, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So you feeling you're on your X here.
I am in
You're on the mark.
Alignment with the gallerist. So
all right, I can't wait to speak further with you later in the day. Thank you so much for being here, Medj. And yeah, of course, we'll talk a bit about the upcoming boutique portal. There is some we have some people helping on with the chat, answering some questions. Perhaps if we have some time, which honestly I doubt 1 hour is going to be tight, but maybe we can let in a few questions. If Julie, you find some that can apply to the whole community, yeah, we will try to answer them back via email to the people who asked it. And yeah, just so you know, this is actually like our 4th or 5th WebinART. So we're getting better, but we're trying to find ways for you guys to better talk and have a chance to communicate. So it's not perfect yet. I understand that many of you would have liked a microphone as well. Kind of sucks that we can't offer that at this point, but we'll get better. All right, so let's get started. Well, I was supposed to show that while we introduced Jane and Medj, but here they are, lovely as always. So what are we going to talk about in the first segment? I'll try to be brief. I have a tendency to speak a lot, so it might be hard, but you can raise your hand, Julie, if I'm going overboard in time. I want to talk a bit about the typical fashion cycle, how it works with the industry in boutique wholesaling. We're not going to talk about major department stores or even fashion shows or some of the smaller subjects or more niche subjects. Really, how to wholesale to boutiques in general, how it works, what is the recommended cycle within the Galerist ecosystem, a quick note on how to build collections. And I want to also look at the boutique portal that is coming, give you some details on the version 1.0 and the version 2.0. And also one question that kept on coming is how much margin should I be making? So we'll talk about that as well. So typical cycle here, it's kind of small, right? Can I zoom in? Yes, I can. So I really put it into the major groups. So first thing you have to understand is the typical cycle is built on Chinese production. It's not built on local production, since most fashion brands are overseas produced, which is not our case, but the industry is built around that. So it all starts with creative direction. So the idea, Medj will talk about the passion, the statement of our line later on, but that's pretty much what it is. Then we go through product design, which is a cycle that can take anywhere between 2 to 3 months. Then they have to go through sample production and shipment. So you have a few units. We'll talk about that, but samples are the key. People will want to see the product before they purchase. Samples are expensive, typically in the industry. If a product is supposed to sell for 100, the sample will be 300. So the first unit you produce is like 3-4 times more expensive in the typical industry. It's not our situation, as you've noticed, but typically you're going to spend a lot of money on samples. Then we go through marketing, material development. Typically you'll have a catalog, which involves a photo shoot, This catalog is printed in a number of copies of the stores that the agents are planning to see. Once that is done and into production, you start selling the line. So this is going around the stores, and you're not shipping right away. So you're typically selling for 6 months later. So in August, September, agents are going around selling spring and summer. In January, Feb, agents are running around selling fall, winter that will be delivered in like September, right? So that's a typical cycle. However, there is a lot of frustration on the part of the boutiques. They would like, and they've been asking for years for brands to move faster. It's really hard to think 6 months in advance. There are things that we want and we want them now. So the whole industry is working on a faster cycle. But that is the typical cycle. Now, if we look at our go-to market cycle, you're seeing that we can have actually over 4 deliveries within the time it takes for the traditional industry to deliver a single delivery. So what are we looking at? I really see it, and we recommend to see it in a 3-month cycle, right? So we're here not in months, in like 2 weeks, they're half months. Creative direction and product design, in your case, is one single operation, right? Sample production, which takes 2 weeks. Marketing development, we have some tools to help you build marketing tools. We know they're not perfect. We're working on getting them better. Please share your feedbacks on that. It will be core in our 2022 investments in the technologies to have you guys have better tools to create better material. And then about a month to sell the line. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but do not sell for immediate delivery. You should try to package your orders in the sense where if you have 2, 3, 4 stores that you work with, the best way to work to make more margins and in the end create better product and create a bigger difference in your community, you're going to need to package multiple orders so that you can get the best price and then you deliver to these people. Which also brings, we're going to talk about collections. We're artists, right? You guys are artists, you're creative. You could do thousands and thousands and thousands of these products. It's a lot of fun and that's fine. But when we're thinking about a boutique, we have to narrow it down, right? Think of a collection, make a small group and focus on that group. For one, it's clearer for the boutique. 2, it makes your message easier to go through and to reach the customers. And 3, you have less units to concentrate your volumes, which means more discounts. So it makes sense for everyone involved. And one final point, which is really hard to do, it's mix and matching prints. If you are able to have a collection that your buyers can take, a top from one print, but could also get a bottom from any of the prints that you're bringing on board, you will have a tremendous success. And it is really, really hard to do in the print business. That being said, it's not impossible. We see a lot of artists that manage to do that. Production, so once you have your orders package, goes through production and you deliver. When you deliver, great timing to go see the store. How's it doing? How does it look? And by the way, here's my collection for in 3 months, right? So that is typically the cycle we will recommend. Quick note on collections. It starts with an idea, right? We're sending you mood boards for inspiration. We work with Rebecca Fortin, who's an amazing creative director for trends also in the prints and color business. So it will help you guide how you group your collections, but even beyond that, it starts with an idea. I'll give you maybe a quick example. In a first brand that we had, I had a collection in fall, I believe it was fall 2015, 2015, anyway. And the idea was a couple of people from Paris, wealthy, quit their day job, one is in the stock market, the other is an artist. They quit Paris and they go live in the forest in Quebec, in a tiny little hut. Super cute. They have amazing taste, both of them, and they live in that little hut, and it's snowing around them. That was the idea. And from then you build collections. You choose your colors. What colors will they want? What feel are they going to want from that? And you start building from it. So it is before even you do, this is what we're seeing here is called a mood board, but it'll typically start with an idea. Medj will speak about that, her ideas and positive energy, right? And that is enough to build a fashion line that can live forever, right? So the simpler your idea is, the longer you can make it, keep it relevant, basically. Let's look a bit about the current flow, right? So what are we seeing here? So one is you've all gone through the form where you select art and shapes. Maybe well, I'm not on a good one here. Put it in English. So this little request new designs here. So I'm talking about the form here, right? So there's art and there's silhouettes. By the way, I know it's slow. That portion, we are working on a new version, should be released in 2 weeks. It'll be a lot faster. So that is the mix, right? Selecting artworks and selecting silhouettes. So this is the design process, right? Is that connection. In the company, we called it the X factor at first, and we'll go through that in a second. It's actually somewhat important that you understand it. You know what, let's do it now. So we have 3 artworks, 3 silhouettes. We do not have 6 products. We have 9 products, right? It's exponential. When you're doing your sampling to go see stores, this is a tremendous power you have, in the sense where you do not need, a typical fashion brand will absolutely need 9 samples, 1 of each of these connections. And to be transparent, it will sell better if you have 9, but you do not need them. You can have 3 units. So let's say you have the first kimono, you're going to do it with artwork 1, reversible dress, you do it with artwork 2, the symmetrical dress, you do it with artwork 3. There you go. You've got 3 samples and you can show off 9 products on an order form. Am I clear? You understand what I mean? Yeah, okay. So when you do your collections, you should choose a set of silhouettes and stick to it. We have over 70 silhouettes. Do not go for 70 silhouettes ever. Nobody needs 70 silhouettes, right? Choose 5, maybe 6. And in the artworks, again, 5, maybe 6. And so the full-blown line, let's say you have 5 of each, your full-blown line is, you have 5 samples, but 25 units, right? 25 styles in your collection. So that's your collection for 1 month, and it goes on a 3-month period, which we've seen just before. So art and shape, which leads to a collection. Collection, then you'll need order form and presentation. I'll give you tips and tricks on how to do that now. This is what is shown to the store, and that's where the connection happens, right? So that's the typical flow right now. We are working on let me just show you currently how to do an order form presentation for those of you. We have videos. We can send that in the confirmation email. Oh, by the way, we have a little gift for the people attending here today. We'll send that out just after the presentation. We'll include some links on videos. I don't want to go through all the details here. But typically a presentation is your tool here to download presentation. So you're selecting your collection. You can go by artwork, for example. So I'm selecting Blue Swirls or Bumblebee here. I can select all right there and download a presentation with or without prices. That's up to you. All right, okay. So it's going to output a PDF here. So you're seeing some elements were added in there, right? You have Le Galeriste Test, and Allo. Here's a tip and trick on how to cheat that system, which you can print and show to different stores. So again, we're building better tools that will allow you to remove logo, change it for your own, you know, organize the presentation. We're working on some of these inputs, but currently this is what we have. When you want to change that information, you just go through your account details and you can come in description, collection, you can change the font and whatnot. You can change the name. That will be kind of the title at the top. Now, this is a dangerous tip and trick I'm giving you here, but I will still do it. My flower collection. And then you save. Why am I saying it's dangerous? Well, it's going to work, right? Because you're here, and notice the products are still selected. You can navigate through the different artwork styles and techniques and keep selecting. You don't have to refresh your screen or whatnot. If you need styles you need to search through your portal to add styles to your presentation. It'll just keep on adding here, right? So you're seeing my number right here is increasing. And download presentation, no prices. All right, second here. So you're seeing my flower collection, and the description I added is here. Why am I saying it's dangerous? Because that is your artist name in our system, right? So that's the cheat we did, right? So if you do place an order and have forgotten to bring that back, your hang tag will say by, you know, artwork name by my flower collection, right? So just don't forget to come back and revert to the real name that you want to use as an artist. So yeah, that is the presentation. Now for the order form, again, not great, working on a better tool, but there is a little hack that you can do to have your own order form. Honestly, I recommend building it on Excel and have your presentation in printed and have your order form in Excel. I'm sorry, Zoom is really eating up my internet. All right. Basically, it's the download that we're going to want to do here. You have 0 quantities everywhere. You can download, no prices, which is going to generate a PDF of your order. You could have emptied the different fields here to enter the information of the artist, of the boutique you want to go. But if you have that printed of, let's say this collection is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 styles. You have that with you, which means you can meet a store, you can show your 6 samples, have your presentation on paper so they have a reference, and you have the order form here that they can fill on the spot with the prices that you guys can set directly on there. So that's a tip and trick. Again, not perfect, but they're hacks that can work. So let's go back here. So this is the current flow, right? Select art, shapes, have a collection, make tools, show the store, get an order, start again. Whoops. Sorry, there you go. The upcoming flow, select art, shapes, directly to store. So we're skipping the whole presentation and whatnot. So this is the idea. Now, the vision is different from the beta, right? So beta is the version 1 of the boutique portal. I will tell you about it. The vision of what I want and what is currently being built, for one, we want to give more control to the artist. So the pricing, you'll have full control of the pricing. This should be launched somewhere in June. So that's really complex for us because it involves a wallet. Because right now, royalties, right? For those of you that do retail, it's a royalty on a price that we are setting. What happens if you want to sell it more expensive? Are you still getting the same percent? It's not a percentage. It should be a flat price, right? This is the cost for 1 unit. This is the cost for 3 units, and et cetera. And whatever's difference between the price you're selling and the price we're giving for the artist cost is the amount you should be making, right? So for that, we're going to need a wallet, right, where the money can go. So for the royalties, cashbacks, when a boutique is ordering, you're creating a margin, money has to go somewhere. It will go in your wallet, not in V1. So let's go again with the vision. The idea, so first things first, we need collections here, right? Like in the storefront, you can create collections. For those of you who've done it, you can create different collections. This really has to be added to the product section. So you can organize your, for some, we have artists with over 2,000 products. I think it's way too much. Anything above 300 should deserve a clean. So you can narrow down what you're working on, or else you and your boutiques will be overwhelmed. That being said, it should be organized in collection, and you should give access to these collections to your customers. Now, it's not how the V1 is going to work. I'm sorry, it's not great news, but it is that the connection we're going to launch next week will give access to the portal, right? So they will see what you're seeing here as far as products. They won't have the ask for design touch-up. They won't have request new designs. They won't be able to move to trash. They won't be able to make presentation, but they will see that view and be able to select from your portal, which might mean some cleanup in your end if you don't want them to see everything. For example, like these are clearly test products. You can delete products. I know it's always move to trash. It's always something scary to do, but it's actually not that scary, in the sense where once you've moved something to trash, you can always go back with the little filter here, choose in trash, apply, and you're seeing all your trash products. You can select them all and reactivate. So it will allow you to do some cleanup without abandoning products forever. Make sense? So yeah, the V1 will give access to the portal, and we'll send you a form so that we can create the account for each of your boutiques. That also is not great. The real version will be in your account details. There'll be a boutique section in here where you can add your users and the margin you want from them. All right. So if you want to sell at a 20% margin, if you want to sell a 30% margin and whatnot, per client, you can set it up. Some clients buy more, right? And your best clients should get a better price, right? It's pretty much how the cookie crumbles, same as our volume discounts. It's if they're giving you more business, they should expect better prices. So I'm not sure how clear that was, but the idea is long-term, you'll be able to have long-term, I mean, within a month, you'll be able to add collections. You'll be able to add users to your collections and set the margins you want. For now, they will have access to your portal products, not the portal. They can't create or delete products or whatnot, but they'll see the products that you're seeing. So we do recommend a somewhat of a cleaning job to be done. And they will have a set margin decided by you. So we'll send you a little form to fill for each boutique you want us to add to give them access, and we'll come back to you with their credentials so they can log in and see it. So this is what we'll have for now. You will set once they place the order, so they place the order, they pay for the order, and you get the difference. For now, we'll send once the first week of every month, we'll send the margin you've set directly on via mass PayPal payments. We'll set in the whatever cost of PayPal, we'll assume that. So that's the amount you'll get. So that will be once a month. Again, not perfect. What is perfect? Perfect is a little amount here that's called your wallet. And once the boutique ordered, it's right there. And you can use it today or send it to your bank account today. I realize this is the best option, but that won't be before June or even July. This is a massive endeavor on our end. Maybe a quick note, again, sorry, wrong button. Quick note on margins, and then I'll pass the mic. how do margins work, right? Major retailers, high cost retailers will want anywhere between 60 and 70. You got some greedy people out there making 75, but these people are closing shops as we speak, one after the other. Everyone that's trying to make over 70 is closing. Like it's too much, right? Anyway, so high cost retailers. So that means you have a department store, a super expensive boutique with a lot of staff. Very high cost retailers will need a 60 to 70% margin. Low cost retailers will need 40 to 50% margin. Distributors. Now, distributors, they package orders. So this is for those of you who want to go and get multiple orders to pay the best price and then sell on smaller orders. It means you will actually touch the products. You will pay for the products. You will receive and then ship. Do not do that under 25% margin ever, 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 ever. We've spoken to some artists that are doing 5-10% margin. It is not enough. It's fun if you want to do it for fun, but it will eventually drop on its own. You know, margins are not just about, you know, buying a new car. Who cares about a car? But if you want to keep doing what you're doing and making a difference, there needs to be a revenue that you can reinvest in your art projects or fashion projects. Margins are necessary. Do not do it for free. If your intention is to do that for free and sell to a boutique the same price you're paying, don't do it. All right. Drop shippers. This is what we're talking about here. That means they're your products, but you're not paying, you're not touching, they're placing the orders. You should target anywhere between 10 and 20%. Again, you can do 25, you can do 30, you can even ask for 50, but it'll be hard and you'll have very limited response, right? The target is 10 to 20% as a drop shipper. 5 to 10%, 5 to 7%, those are bystanders. We don't even work with these this community, but these are marketplaces where you put the products and you don't do anything, right? You're just there and money comes in. This is typically 5 to 7% margin that you'll be making on the end products. All right, so on that note, I don't even know what time it is. I'm guessing I've really took too much time. I'm sorry.
You're good. The feedback's coming in, if I may, Thierry. It's people are finding it very useful, and it's also bringing up a lot of questions. Daniela and I have been answering most of them. Some are more precise, so we just invite everybody once again. If it's very precise and we can't cover today, just send us an email at our customer care team, info@legaleriste, I'll write it again, .com, and we'll be sure to answer you as soon as we can.
Are there one or two questions you think would be important for the whole community you'd like me to address right now?
Let me just double check here. I'll unmute Daniela as well if she wants to jump in, because I can't see her camera, so I don't know. Daniela, feel free if you have a question. You've been answering more than I have. Definitely want to know more about how to reach out, how to connect with boutiques, but we just answered that. I think Medj and Jane will cover on that, as they're both, if I dare so experts at doing so, maybe going beyond the cold calling and maybe other approaches that we can have. So that'll be for you ladies.
I can drop a quick note on it. You have to be brave and walk in, right? Emails are not going to work. Phone calls are not going to work. Really, walk-ins are the only way. And remember, it is their job to buy products. It's what they do. So you're not like doing something they're not expecting, right? This is what they do for a living. They try to get products that resonate with their clients, right? So basically walk in, drop a card, have a few samples in the card. Don't walk in with the samples ever, just yourself. Talk a bit about the product to the owners and try to set a moment where they want to see the product. And they might say, well, I have time right now. Like 50% of the time I'd walk into stores. By the way, this is how I funded the company. I was driving around Canada and the US every single week, going to see stores. I would see 20 stores a day. It's too much. That's when, you know, it's your only revenue stream, right? You should start to see 1, 2, 3 stores and grow from there. So typically, yeah, you walk in, you show the products. If you know what your best sellers are, push them. It's really important. They need your feedback. They don't know your products like you do, right? They don't know the pitch like you do. So whatever you saw in your first clients that caught their attention, go ahead and help them understand the product. What they'll typically do is place a first test order. So they'll ask, what are your 5 best products in that collection? And they'll buy 3 to 5 units per product. That's really the start of the relationship, right? Was there something else? We can go on with Jane maybe, and if you have some more after Jane, we could address them.
Yes, I think so. And if I can just plant a seed, it might not be for now. I already told Carol that I would answer by email later on if we didn't cover it today. But she was wondering more about the part with galleries. You know, when you connect with different galleries, they don't necessarily, like she said, how do I make it financially viable with art galleries who don't purchase but put work on consignment? So do you feel like this is a whole other subject, or could you drop a few lines on that?
You're not going to like my line.
Oh, it's not.
Well, she asked me twice, so I believe I think she would like to know maybe.
Do not consign ever. Ever. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Unless maybe in the tiny little situation where the person you're talking to or the business or the gallery is exclusively on consignment. And that way you're on the same field as the others. But if they are paying for some products or artworks or whatnot, but not paying for yours, do not do it. They won't talk about what you do. You'll be 1 week down the road, you're at the back of the store or the back of the gallery. Don't do it. Honestly, dealing with a gallery, all the galleries we've worked with, the owner of the gallery was one of the artists and would show their products. I have not yet seen a gallery carrying fashion products from other artists than themselves. If you know what, if someone in the audience today is doing that well, we'd like to hear from you. Let's do another webinar. I'd really be thrilled to understand how it works. But to this, I don't have more of an answer to that.
Actually, it's proving to be quite relevant. Thank you. People are thanking you and saying that your advice and your guidance is very useful and agreed upon. So thank you. Honesty is the best policy, right? They want to know it works.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I'm so happy to have Jane Jeffries with us today. For one, I'm a fan of your art. Again, I mentioned earlier, but it's very soothing. And right now, I need soothing things to look at. Gorgeous energy, gorgeous paintings. But what made me very interested in hearing your thoughts is about the business creativity. You're working with shopping centers. I heard you have some space in some shopping centers. You're right now dealing with trying to lock out deals with airports. You're doing wild things, unexpected things, and maybe tell us a bit about some of these endeavors and how you found them and how you made it work.
Okay, well, thanks so much. Thank you for having me again. The first thing I think that I should talk a little bit about is the idea of what we touched on was community. Being in a small town in Eastern Ontario, on an island, in fact, Merrickville is very close to me and about five-minute drive. And there are many artisans there. So when I started to actually paint a little more, I joined the Merrickville Artists Guild. And for many of us artists who are like, maybe I shouldn't speak for anyone else, but for myself, being shy and thinking there's no way, like I'm not really an artist. I'm just dabbling, that sort of thing. It took some experience in being in the Artists Guild, joining and participating on a studio tour. I was invited to do that, and actually seeing people ask me questions about my art and enjoying that sort of made me feel a little more like, wow, this is really happening. And then participating in markets, the Merrickville Makers Market. And again, many of you don't do that, or you're looking into boutiques, I realize, but for me, that I believe was what it gave me the exposure. Because
are you talking art market, or are you talking fashion market? art market.
No, well, so the first one is a studio artist tour, and it was all just my originals. And then a friend of mine is a graphic designer who said you should be doing note cards. So after I started my florals, I created note cards, and then another friend said you should try a market that has note cards, because makers markets are tough to set up original paintings when they blow over, and it's a lot of work. And having done about 5 studio tours and about 10 markets now, I can tell you I much prefer to carry note cards and wearable art than hanging my originals and prints that are with glass, etc. So the note card exposure really showed me a difference in, again, as a teacher, I don't know anything about retail, but what I did learn is that the people who would come in were far more interested in, for example, in my Christmas markets, we're not interested in looking at a $600 original painting. They want to see something small. Oh, I'll buy a package of 3 note cards for $20 and be happy with that. So I started to learn, okay, do I want to do this to sell, or do I just want to paint? And I was really a decision that I had to make. And the more florals I did, the more encouragement I had. And again, shout out to my buddy Louise, who I saw earlier. Hi, Louise. Was that you should try and do these on clothing. And of course, so she introduced me to Le Galeriste. So and again, I was really interested in what you were saying, Thierry, about having the styles and how many styles you put on. So I initially threw on 3 styles, 3 paintings. And when I saw them, I chose a tote bag, the kimono I was in love with. I have 3 daughters, so they all wanted, Mom, do the kimonos, do the tote bags, simple scarf. And what I learned very quickly was when I was playing with cardigans, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what sizes to order. There's like 6 sizes. Who knows how to order that? Plus there's plus sizes. And I was like, forget it. Give me a math question. Don't tell me how to do sizing like that. I don't know. So I stayed away from that. And I chose the one size. And so I really agree with your comment, Thierry, regarding, simplicity. Like, sure, I can go full bore. I think I have about 280. I don't even know how many products I have, close to 300 right now. But and I'll get to that. But in saying that, I stuck with those basics first. And the first market I went to that I had scarves and my long scarves and the tote bag, bam, I was like, whoa, I could sell one original art, but telling my wearable art pieces and the amount of exposure I saw was phenomenal. Now, keeping in mind, I'm a bit of a social media guru. I like to use Facebook and Instagram, and I have no problem just posting. My girls say I do it way too much, but I had no problem just posting my art. And so my art was selling on Facebook, okay? So I did pay for boosts. I used to do that a couple of years ago. When I think about it now, the money I spent. But anyway, I believe that part of the community, I thought was imperative to say, because that's how I got a little bit of exposure. So then there's 3 boutiques, one in Merrickville, Smiths Falls, and Almont, who have all contacted me. They all messaged me. I believe it's through Facebook that they got to know me, as well as I knew the individual owners, and said, we want your art. And so 2 of the 3, the first one in Merrickville and then Smiths Falls, where I grew up, have my originals, my prints, and wearable art. And I do them all differently. So I was very interested in what you're talking about in terms of margin and consignment. Mine is different in each one. Some are friends. So I go in, I say, what do we feel like today? And they take a look at my art and say, hey, let's do a whole color blue. So for example, Forgiven, they have a whole set of my blue Forgiven set up in their store. We agree on a split for money, and they don't charge me to be in there. They just get, they get 30%. But they don't pay me up front either, which I was also interested in you saying, Thierry. However, they're also local friends. Versus the 4th store, the 3rd one, pardon me, is called Dragonfly. It's in Almont. She paid me outright, and I was like, wow, this is great, because now I can order more from you guys. And again, I don't know about, I loved hearing about your 3-month, the quarterly, because
Yep.
I'm learning that I need to work in quarters. I can't tell people that I've got something when I know it's not going to be here for a month. So again, I'm just fumbling along as I go here. And so folks, you know, I'm sure Medj will be much better at telling you about the ordering part of it. But what I did learn was that, yes, it helps me to pay attention to the clients, what they want, but set up styles in certain places. So in Almont, she only has my clothing. The fourth store I went to was in Arnprior. Now, this was what Thierry's talking about. I was wearing a kimono, and a buddy of mine, we'd had lunch together, and she was wearing one of my other kimonos, and we walked in. She said, Jane, you've got to come in. We'll just go in the store. Let's see what she thinks. And this is called the Art Gallery. It's the Gallery Artiste shop in Arnprior. And Tara happens to be an artist, and she looked and she said, that's wearable art. And I said, yeah, it is. And my buddy Nancy says, well, you know what it is. This is her art on wearable. It's a company called the Gallery. So I let Nancy do the spiel, and Tara said to me, I want to see your stuff. So I said, well, okay. And at the time, the only thing I had on were the two kimonos with me. So she's about an hour from me, from Birch Rapids. So I drove back. We made a call and said, look, when will we hook up? So I went a week later, and I took the 5 styles, okay, the 5 things that I had, and I tried to take one. By that point, I had 6 paintings on. So I had one of each of my paintings in a different style. So you had like a square scarf or a long scarf, the kimono. I did have cardigans at that point, that kind of thing. And she was like, she went through the stuff, and we started talking. She wanted to pay up front, but I realized she wanted more of a cut. And I'm like, okay, I'm not comfortable with this. And again, being the noob, I don't know how to do this. So I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her the things that I know that are easiest for me to bring up. First of all, that sell the best, that are, you know, for example, the long scarf for me, the Vivian and the tote are given, no problem whatsoever. Masks, it was cool because it's COVID. Masks have done very well. And it was interesting at that time because you guys were saying, you know, hold off on masks, maybe, you know, maybe they won't be as important. And then somebody else was saying that to me as a friend, and I thought, masks are coming back. And sure enough, masks is ridiculous. I have a masks, like, I'm not kidding, a massive selling for masks. And really good for a market. If anybody's considering, you know, I have them hung into sizes. I have the 4 different sizes, and I have all the different styles. I'm really jumping around, sorry, but I now have 18 paintings on the gallerist.
Do you have some pictures you can share with us that we'll send to the community on how you lay out your products, or some of the pictures of the stores you're working with? I think everyone would like to see that.
I have them all. I have them all. And I guarantee, I promised each of them, so I rotate. So every week, like, I'll focus on Nellie's, for example. Nellie's is in Merrickville, so I'll do a post for Nellie's. I'll do both on Instagram and Facebook. They tag it, they post me as well. Then I'll do one for Almont. I'll do one for Smiths Falls. In Smiths Falls, it's Willow. I grew up in Smiths Falls, so in Smiths Falls, it's great because Willow & Co. And this is where I'm trying to go quickly. I'm hoping I'm not taking up too much of your time, but what's interesting about Willow & Co. is they are a company that has designing as well as staging involved. So this is where this other company comes into play. And again, I'm jumping around, but one of the gals that worked there is a stager. So I decided that I kept getting, Jane, you should have this stuff on you should have your flowers on pillows, and which I did already have on pillows, but on bedspreads and curtains and tablecloths. So I thought, okay, so I tried it. Well, I'm trying to go very quickly. Long story short is this stager and I are in the middle right now of, we are going to make an agreement, and she has purchased 2 things from me so far, 2 sets of beddings, where she's going to decorate for Royal LePage. So I'm having a meeting with 2 different Remax and Royal LePage people, where my bedding, as in we're calling them coverlets, which are really they're not called, what they are is the our large hanging oh, Julie, I need your help. The remember the long hanging
tapestries?
The tapestries?
The tapestries or rideau tapestries?
But we didn't call it tapestry.
Curtains?
What is it in the name of it on the store? I forget, just for the people that are watching.
You mean the ones that you put on the wall behind you? Yeah,
yes.
the
Tapestry.
tapestry.
Oh,
Yes.
they call that? Okay, I thought there was something else in English. Anyway, I had some of those, and I found those difficult to hang, and I was like, so I threw it in, and I threw it on my bed one day, took a picture of it, had a girlfriend of mine come in, she bought the entire bedroom suite. And in selling that, I did the bedroom suite pillows. I had 2 matching paintings that I had for that. This is called my magnolia. That's white magnolia. She bought the entire suite, and we concocted, we did all kinds of pictures, and that bedroom suite photo went crazy. And I did boost it, but it went nuts. And so the stager saw that, and she wants, and now she has taken both. That one's called Magnolia. So there's Magnolia. She's purchased 3 so far, but the plan is to develop 7 different bedroom suites that will be used by, she stages for Royal LePage. I'm hoping between Royal LePage and Remax to duplicate those, so that they each stager has their own bedroom suite, and it's all legaratist. And so what we've agreed to is, I said nothing is posted or advertised without my name and without legaratist on it. So we're tagged for everything for advertisement, and it's going big. It's like, I'm excited. I have 2 meetings next week with Royal LePage and with Remax. So that's one thing that I hadn't told you about that one, Thierry. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not.
Sorry?
So realtors, shopping centers, art galleries,
Yeah.
very inspiring. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I think we could have listened to you for an hour. It sucks we don't have the time, but it's really interesting. Maybe a little comeback on what we're hearing here. So one, you're a business person. I'm not sure you see yourself as that, but
I'm a math teacher, but okay.
You're a math teacher, but this is business creativity. You get something right and you level it up and you make something better from it. You keep jumping. You walk upstairs, right?
Yeah.
You're not going. Sometimes you look at it and you're saying, I'm sorry, I'm diverging. You're not diverging. You're actually escalating. You're ramping up, building on things that you have. And I find that tremendously inspiring. And that's how it works. Well, that's how I love it. I know my team sometimes hates me for it, because it makes you move all the time, because you learn something good. And you also mentioned it with the flowers, even in your painting, right? You started doing flowers, you got good feedback, you did more flowers. That's a business mind, right? I know it's not business, it's art, but there is something really interesting in there. Also, you mentioned community. If we're looking at the most performing artists we're working with are all influential within their community. It starts local and it builds from there. If your first target is in Japan, we might not be the right fit for you. We believe it starts close to home and it builds from there. So really focus on the community. You mentioned cash. That is an issue, how to finance this. Remember I showed you the loop for the fashion industry that takes like a whole year. You're investing in a fashion line that you're going to get money like 16 months down the road, right? It's crazy. And the actual industry, we call it the loop, right? So that's the money that is stuck in the loop, and you won't see that money until you do your last collection,
right?
That so you always have a loop. Don't take money you don't have. Like, I think we should be intelligent in the risk we're taking, but margins are made for that. Credit margins are super low cost. Don't only use it for things you've sold. I think don't take too much risk on that. But this is what they're for, right? Credit margins can be used for that. You also mentioned co-design, right? Having the store saying, oh, that'd be cool to have that. I actually think it could be a great experience to design a collection with a store. Yeah. It's a great idea, but if they do that, they pay up front for sure.
Yes.
I'm doing it for you. Like, there's no negotiation here.
I do. If I could add one thing, my newest is a store in Brighton, and it's coming, and she has signed me on to do 3 things. One is her travel. So she's asked me to find 6 that'll be just regarding travel. That's arriving. Actually, I think my box arrives today. Then I'll do a spring collection with another of my 6. And then I'm going to do a fall collection with the other 6. So she said, you've got 18 paintings, you design what you want, but I want it into 3 different collections and that one's cash up front. And, it's going to pay off. Not only is she going to pay off what she's buying, but she's actually paid all the other things that some of the things that I like. It's really in spades, which has been great.
Good job. You can take a look at the chat. I think there's a few questions in there that if you have a moment to answer, I think the community would really appreciate.
And if I did,
okay.
I may, Thierry, don't mean to cut. Jane, is that okay with you? I just shared your public Facebook page, just your Jane Jeffries art.
Good.
So that way you can decide, how you want to connect with people. But I suggested the people that did have questions are quite inspired by your ideas and your beautiful creativity and business sense. So you can just follow her and then connect with her by private message, maybe for more specifics. I think it really sparks something with the homestay.
Cool.
So thank you, Thierry, for filling up on that.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you, Jane.
There's a last note I want to put in there. Company investors hate me for thinking like that right now, but it is what it is. You are the brand. Our client is the artist. I appreciate that you tag us, and we love it and we reshare. It's really cool, but you don't have to, right? If you want to push and promote your product, your vision, our job is to help you, whatever brings the most value to you. And I do believe scarcity is really important in what we're doing, in the fact where they're dealing with Jane Jeffries to buy Jane Jeffries, and there's 4 stores. If they look at the community, like right now, you can go on the site and see, hundreds of artists. Honestly, we're moving away from that. We want to really cater towards the artist at 100%. So yeah, we appreciate the share. We'd love it. Keep doing it if you have to. But if artists around choose not to do it, it is your decision and you are fully entitled to it. That's actually why we've launched the custom labels, which was quite a headache to launch at production, but it works well. I've looked at a lot of the products. It's gorgeous. Anyway, let's move on. I just wanted to put that note in there. Medj, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that only had an hour, this is recorded. Please come back and listen. I'm sure it's going to be super interesting. So for those of you who have time, let's do it. Medj, I'm so happy that you're with us today. Mentioned earlier on in the conversation, where I want to hear your thoughts about vision, right? About having a clear statement. Tell us a bit about your statement and what it means to you and your customers.
Okay, so first I want to say thank you, Jane. Thank you to all of you. But first, Thierry, it was fabulous because I learned a lot. But Jane, wow, I have a lot of ideas. So I did it the hard way, because my idea is to change a room with my painting. I changed the energy of a room with my painting. So bringing it on clothing, it was like, oh my gosh, I can, in the morning, wake up, being depressed, anxious, or whatever. People are like that. It's reality. And be able to change their life by bringing joy, color, or something different. Because when you wear one of our clothing, it changes your reality. Because right away, you have something different. You feel different. So it was that my idea. So my goal is really to bring my clothing as a way to change people's lives. And I believe all of us artists, by creating, we change reality, and we don't realize it. But it's true. So remember, Einstein said, change your energy and change your reality. It's not philosophy, it's physics. So as like you, Jane, I was in science before doing psychology and art, right? So, but developing my clothing line, I've been tough because I did it the hard way. I bought clothes and I wore them. And by doing so, people were saying, wow, that is cute. So each time I have an exhibition, I was posing near my painting with my clothes. So people were, oh, wow, that is different. And most people wear black, blue, dark blue, gray. So you have in a place for business or whatever at the restaurant, but you have a lot of color. So you will have one person say, oh, that's cute. I say, oh, yes, I am the designer. Here we go. I have my clothing on it. Oh,
Beautiful.
I have a lot of things. So I have everything in and right away. And my husband is good for that. In his phone, he have card. Oh, it's my wife. So that help also. So Jane gave you a lot of ideas about where to wear them. The clothes are wrinkle free. So I sold to hotel because I go to an hotel, I have my clothing, I am at the beach with my kimono. People say, wow, what's that? I say, oh, I have some. I have a few. There we go, sold. So I did it the hard way. I did also small market, art market like you did. I joined a guild, art guild. That is good. I do staging, but only for my painting with realtor, designer. So the clothing, the painting are going in the house, and people have a little card, art and wearable art. That's it. What else? So fashion show.
Yes, tell us a bit about you just had a quite massive fashion show.
Yes, I have.
How did it go? How did it work? What did you get from it? Tell us about your experience.
How I did it first. I was contacted by a woman because I have been going to all the store to have my clothing. And one of the women was nice enough to say, you know, would you like to do a fashion show one time with me? I say, yes. When she said that, it's lighting inside. And I say, wow, I have a fashion show in my community, in the city. So I am in Sarasota, and everywhere they have fashion show. So I begin to call people who are doing fashion show. I say, okay, I have a line of clothing. I would love to come with them. It's wrinkle-free, it's vegan. And I was showing off. And right away they say, Madge, there is a fashion show soon. Do you want to be a part of it? My clothing, our clothing, guys. It was the best, the most beautiful, because it brings color. All the other designers have black, beige, dark blue. That's it. I'm arrived with my color. And at the end of the show, I was smiling and talking about my heart. People love it. So it gave me exposure, but also I have a boots like you, Jen. I have a boots and I have my heart, and I have a rack of clothing as well. So I sold like that. I was invited to a trade show because also vegan, sustainability, they love that. We are vegan, we are sustainable.
Did you pay for the trade show?
So I didn't. You know why? Because good news, guys, you don't have to pay if you help them to do something.
Okay.
So I am an artist. I am recognized in the community in South Florida. So right away they say, oh, Madge, would you like to be there? I say, absolutely. And I brought people. So people know me. So they say, okay, right away. I have the personality of the artist. That also, guys, you have to do that. You are the brand, as Thierry said. You have the personality and you believe in what you do. So people love it. So the fashion show was spectacular. I bring everything that I could, and all the designers, they didn't have enough. I bought so much so that I have enough. So people wear the clothes, and I gave some to some girl to walk around with the clothes. That was a good idea. From this fashion show, I already have another one in April. So listen to that, because that is good. Every organization that are doing a community and charity event, they are open for fashion show. Charity, community events are open for it. So you can enter saying, oh, I have maybe a piece of art to donate for charity. Oh, by the way, you wouldn't like to do a fashion show? You don't have to pay for the model most of the time. You find your friend, your girlfriend will be happy to help you out. I did that. Or you have, what do you pay a girl for 2 hours? she will want maybe 20, 30 bucks, 40 bucks maximum. So if you want to invest in that, you do that. However, I have friends and they were happy to help. So I'm doing a fashion show in April, and all my girlfriends and 2 models that want to have the stuff. They say, you were nice with me, you treat me well, you pay me when people didn't pay me. I want to show off your brands. And all of them, they are on Instagram and showing off. So find
Very
a
interesting.
girl who want to do that for you, because it's beautiful what we do.
Where did you get your business card? Is it like Vista Print online or
Vista Print.
Vista
So
Print?
here you have the painting. Here it's my brand. It's all about energy.
Wait, I'll just stop 1 second. Look at this. She has a slogan. I've been seeing that since the start. Medj, it's all about energy.
Yeah.
This
People
is
are
this is
loving
market. This is marketing. This is the reason you're here today. But love, what is it? Love from your heart.
That is my book, because I have a book called, you will hear about it, Live from Your Heart, because this is my work as a
Lead
therapist.
from your heart. Yeah.
I help people live from their heart. So I did the painting first, I create the book, and then I have the clothing. So
Very
they
interesting.
know that by wearing that, it changes their energy. So by having that, you go everywhere. It costs nothing. You are going to the grocery store, you go. So I do hotel, trendy store. Now you have a lot of women markets and people who do anything for women. So hair salon, fashion show, facials, so spa. I exhibit in spa. So when I exhibit in the spa, I have my clothing.
I'll bring
And
your
the
attention
clothing
to
is
something.
all over.
Yeah. Look how circular, how she thinks as an ecosystem, right? It starts for the energy, but there's the clothing, there's the art, there's the therapy, there's the relation. And she has these things working around all the time, each levering one to the other with the sole purpose of spreading good energy. This is really interesting, right? It's when you're doing a project or starting something, it brings a lot of opportunities. Both women, sorry.
It's okay.
Both Medj and Jane have mentioned a lot of opportunities and they jumped on them, right? It's really interesting. You girls are brave. I said girls again, sorry, but it is what it is.
It's okay, we are little girl. We are little girl
You
in
love,
our
all
heart
right.
forever.
Look how brave they are. You know, they stand for what they believe, they stand for what they represent, and they go ahead and they jump in the world. I know it's scary sometimes, but it's how we get things moving. And you know, what's the worst that can happen? Someone says no. That's the worst that can happen. You know, I mean, anyway, I just had a Susan Pepler saying totally inspiring. You are totally inspiring.
It's 50-50. It's always 50-50. They say no or yes.
Love it. You're right. Maybe one last note I did not mention that's really important in the boutique business and would make a lot of sense for artists. They're called trunk shows. I don't know if you girls ever did one. This is when a store makes an event with a specific line, right? So meet the artist. Often it's meet the designer. Stores love doing that. They'll bring in people, you bring in people, you get to meet, and it allows it. Of course, it sells a lot of products, which is good, but it's really good to build a community, build the message, and build trust with the store owner. Just very interesting. If ever, there's always inventory, right? It's part of the game. It's part of why we're doing margins. You'll have leftovers or whatnot. Trunk shows are the best place to get rid of inventory. Never, just a little side note, never do a trunk show or a show just about liquidating inventory, ever. Liquidation should be a portion of what you do, but you focus on your main product and you have some discounted product on the side would you need it, but don't focus on discounts in a sense where if you didn't sell it, it's probably not the best in the collection anyway. So if you're making a collection that is geared towards your least performing products, it's not good for your name. It's not good for the reputation of what you're doing. But it's people. There's always someone that will like it. People. Some people are all about discounts. Yeah. So this just a little tip and trick on that. Also, quick note on samples. We'll send you the email. They are important. You know, having the product, being able to show them. I think Medj and Jane are doing a good job. Very good job, tremendous. In fact, on that end, you should own some samples. I know sometimes it's hard because it's more expensive to buy one unit, but we'll make that easy for you. We'll send a little gift afterwards in the email. But it is important to show off what you're doing, or else if no one sees, nothing's going to happen. You had maybe one last point, Medj, before we say goodbye.
Yes, just one little thing. Okay, COVID wasn't a good stuff, but somehow for us, we are made in USA and Canada. So I do USA and Canada because it's made in Canada, but I am in the USA. The art is made in the USA. So I put made in USA and Canada, and that helps because now nobody wants to buy in China. So we are local.
Good point. And Medj has been talking a lot about for us to open a factory in the US. It is actually in the plans to have another facility in our neighbor country. All right. Well, I think that's it. Maybe the art is moving a lot. I'm planning a next webinar. You'll hear about it, about NFTs. So if that's of any interest for you guys, NFTs are the way to sell digital art right now. If you haven't read, you should try to start to ask yourself questions. Right now, it is a minor percentage of the online community that knows or does NFTs. NFTs will be everywhere in 5 years.
NFTs, Thierry, people are asking.
Non-fungible tokens. So right now, for example, you're putting an image on Facebook. Facebook owns your image. True, it's that weird, right? You have the original artwork, but who owns the image? Who owns the JPEG, right? What you can share fake news, you can share a lot of fake things are happening online. Online is owned by a few beasts, right? You've got Facebook, you got Google, you got Amazon, and they're owning the internet. And this is about to turn around. There's something coming called the Web3. Let's not get into that in the next webinar. We'll go into that, but where ownership will be recognized. So the image is assigned, the original image is assigned to Jane or is assigned to Medj, and it is in the blockchain. It works the same way as cryptocurrency. It's actually the same technology, right? So the image is owned by her. She's the one that placed it on that product. We'll launch limited editions also, but they'll be in the blockchain. So you'll know that if someone is interested, they'll know who bought number 23 of that collection, right? And this is kind of where the web is going, ownership, and it'll be of tremendous importance to artists in a 5 to 10 year down the road. So I'm not saying go crazy and start doing NFTs or whatnot. No, but it's important that you know about it, that it's happening, right? So I'll have someone come in, an artist, actually a PhD, and she's all about the metaverse, NFTs, and Web3. It might be a bit confusing for a presentation, but I think it'll be very interesting. For those of you who have any interest on the matter, make sure you sign in. Well, once again, Jane, Medj, thank you so much. And everyone else that took the time to be here, you don't know what it means. It's so, it feels so good. We work so hard for you guys, and seeing that you're here listening in is just, it means a lot. Well, I wish you guys a great week, great weekend. Actually, we're Friday, right? Well, as Medj would say, let's send some love to everyone out there.
Yes.
And see you
Thank
soon.
you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
so much
you.
for the opportunity.
Thierry, thank
Thank
you.
you,
for
Jane.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Daniela.
Bye.
All of you.
Thank you.